the great reset to the great awakening, the wake up, clean up, show up, grow up, which is, one of my favorite topics, really.
Mate, very appropriate, very important, brother.
I think getting mad about it is good. I think this is half the reason we're where we're at is we don't get mad enough.
That Earth has got its own consciousness, which is moving. So it's very much, I think I might have used an example a few weeks ago, was about, it's a bit like the 24-hour sale, like the Black Friday sale, now's the time when you really want to do it because you're going to get much more value, a bit more bang for your buck is probably a good way to look at it. Another big one, mate, is like when the identity starts to shrink, when you start to lose yourself, but you're not growing to become a better self, you're actually shrinking your identity, you're losing your identity. I think people that get caught up in the Great Reset are just living too small. It's that simple. A lot of wealth is generated in times like this as well, mate. I think it's as well too, like you can't have purpose if you think small. Purpose comes from thinking big. The Great Awakening as well, as you'll find, mate, that people that are doing tasks that are bigger than themselves, right? Bigger than them, like really showing what they're capable of. I don't think there's ever been a more important time to ensure that you're surrounded by the right people that are moving forward. As we both know, brother, you don't eat the apple from the tree, right? So, it's making little changes can do big, big, big things. Even some things that might have served us 20, 30, 40, 50 years are just no longer going to serve us. Forgiveness to themselves for whatever's happened in the past, forgiveness to others, forgiveness probably towards the governments and things like that. I'm not saying that to forget about it, but if you keep yourself in that emotion, then you're going to stay down low. The person I am today is not the same person I was yesterday, and I won't be the same person tomorrow that I am today as well either, right? So we always change and we always grow, and putting the phone down is always a great place to start, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, mate, I think I'd find it hard to believe if most people don't have somewhere between 4 to 10 hours, spent on their phone a day.
He says, money without meaning leads to debauchery and basically frivolity. Money with meaning leads to purpose and philanthropy.
Yeah, powerful, isn't it? It's never been around about profit. It's always been about purpose, and profit just seems to follow, and it follows a bit larger than what you even expected. Even when I thought that I might have been thinking big, it's like, no, too small, too small. You got to think bigger. It's easy to fall into a low mindset. It's easy to fall into low vibration. But as soon as I make it aware to myself of that, hang on a minute, is fear taken over here? Is faith going to take over? It's almost like you dissolve the fear once you override it with faith. But if you can always improve a little bit each day just through your choice of your habits, then your life becomes pretty prosperous pretty quick.
Because all studies show that collective consciousness can literally create outcomes for a civilization. And he just said, he was walking up praying for people, and people's ears were literally growing back and legs were growing back in front of him. Jesus, whenever he'd do a great miracle, the first thing he'd do was kick out the skeptics out of the room.
The highest vibration is authenticity, like hands down. Authenticity is the highest. So, mate, the way that we can overcome these challenges that, not only just us in Australia, but around the world that everybody's facing.
I think there's a big difference between manifestation and fantasy, or what I call, or changing your consciousness. My fantasy might be to lie on the beach and be getting paid just for people to stare at me for my beauty, but it's not necessarily going to happen for me,
Well, you've got to be able to sit with yourself first and foremost. I've found in all my time that's been the biggest challenge for most people is how to sit with themselves. There's no two ways about that. It takes responsibility, it takes work, and that work is really ensuring that you're always in control of your energy. Everyone and everything is always trying to take the juice away from people. And then when you got no juice, well, you're no good for anything. It's like, well, no, I don't actually believe, I know. Like knowing is a whole different level. And I think that's the space that people need to get to when you know yourself, when you know why you're here, when you know that life is bigger than you. This is when you start to really progress in this life, which then progresses that spirit for the afterlife as well too, bro. We all got our own story to write, because, you've heard me say this before, but our mind is a bit like a two-way radio, where if we've got our finger on the button, we're sending a vibration, we're sending a pulse out there. Well, we can't receive anything when we've got our finger on the button. We've got to take the finger off the button to be able to receive. Where once you take that finger off the button and you can sit in stillness, mark my words, the solution will come to you. So I think, curating it. And I think another big one is practicing genuine honesty. like genuine honesty, like being genuinely honest with yourself and sitting with it and asking yourself if you're really being honest with yourself. Because if you're asking yourself that question, then you're probably not, is what I found in my personal beliefs, right? Creating more than you can consume is another really good one, right? Create more. Finding something bigger than yourself, brother, is always another great way as well, too, right? Like something bigger than yourself.
The more any excess can be problematic. Like excess exercise can be just as problematic as lack of it. Are you going to be walking around naming and claiming it? We're just going to sit joyfully in the knowledge and starting to visualize like excitedly about what it will be like when you've got it. So true manifestation means you name it or consciousness shift and you start to change your thinking so much, but you just become at peace, trusting the process and going, you know what, it's going to work out fine. COVID was a turning point for them. They got their finances out. They became online. My yoga teacher, who was very distressed at the time, she started to change her thinking. And she says to me, you know, my business is better than ever because now I've got online yoga and people come on all over the world. Why not do that now? Why not say this digital ID? Yeah, we're going to do whatever we can to stop that. But assuming we can't, which at the moment it seems the collective consciousness is like, yeah, let's just do it.
To be a creator, you need to have a free mind to be able to create. Otherwise, you got your finger on the button, so you're not actually being able to create anything. But why do we put our attention on things that don't serve us? It doesn't make any sense in any way, shape, or form. So whatever that energy is where you're spending your time in your environment, well, that's who you're going to be. It's a very simple fix. So you've got to take it when you can. And now is the time. I really encourage you that probably your number one priority for everybody right now should be around their awakening, should be around about progressively growing their consciousness and their spirituality. And the higher that you fly, the more abundance that you come in.
But those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall rise with wings like eagles. They shall run and not grow weary. They shall walk and they will not faint hearted.
You know, that extra 100 meters or whatever, however high they are up above it. Think about everything that they can see. You know, those small little things that if they were down on the ground level in a little four walls boxed in every single day, but that's not their reality.
What is Jesus the badass? When I show what Jesus was really like, and he was certainly no wuss. He taught about miracles. He taught about how to deal with taxes energetically. He taught how to deal with government corruption, how to deal with bankers. The top 5 people who influence your life will determine your state of consciousness, how you're feeling, and where you're at financially.
There is no big doomsday. It's not like we all got here at the same time and then the world's going to end and it's all over. Like it's the biggest load of bloody BS that you've ever heard of. Nothing lasts forever. Like nothing lasts forever. But you don't have to wait until something ends. You can be the one that cuts the cord. And when you cut those cords, you're cutting cords energetically is what you're doing. I spent a big part of my life in, the sort of the fitness world around a lot of people in the exercise world that they become obsessed and addicted. The body image comes in, the way they eat, they start to withdraw from other things. Their quality of life, really does, it definitely doesn't get any better. Expansion's what awakening's all about, right? So it's expansion. So we should be expanding everything in our life, expanding our income, expanding our network, expanding our life experiences, expanding our wisdom. It should always be number one, right? You cut it and then it gets bigger. You cut it again, it can get bigger again.
What excites me about this conversation is what a generation of young people can do with this information. And of course, John over his homeschool would be loving this, Trent. If you believe, but you've already got it, you'll have it. If you believe you've already got it, you'll have it.
I think sometimes we just forget how incredible we are, all of us, every single one of us, how amazing we are, how gifted we are. Like just think of the human body, like wow, like wow, how all these things that this stuff does, like it's so spot on. Money is currency, it's meant to flow. That's the purpose of it. And if you got deep pockets or you got access to that sort of stuff, then you can make big changes as well too.
We live our life discovering that we're wrong. And he goes, I'm okay with it. I've learned to just believe, to just follow my truth for now.
The great awakening is happening in here within you, right? So the great awakening in the spirit, yeah, the great reset will be out there. If you can adjust as within, so without. So if you work on yourself in the great awakening, you will change the reality for the great reset for yourself anyhow. And how do we inspire others? We inspire others through our actions of authenticity, right? I have plenty of mates that come around, mates that have been visiting me for 10 years and they come around and I'm always the lucky one with everything that I do in my life. We all have free will at the end of the day, regardless with some people might think that we don't at the moment, we do. we always have a choice, right? Break away from those limiting beliefs, shift your environment, tidy it up in every way, shape, or form, and start thinking big, right? Like start thinking big.
Almost in tears. So it's very inspiring to see, see everyone giving, and it feels good to give, doesn't it, Trent?
Mate, to me personally, I don't think there's anything better than being able to be of service to other people.
To kick the habit that my mind is breathing